Shaku Abubakar.
Kirk Kennedy. How far?
Oh, long time.
I did like I know the. I did like I know the. Today we are not going to waste much time. It's going to, let me just play yeah. Really? Yeah. Presentation. See you tomorrow, man. Thank you. Let's quickly go to, sorry, okay, let's quickly go to, sorry, go to the mandatory training. Okay. Let's go. Password reuse. Let's see. Sorry. Let's see.
Facebook recently disclosed that the personal information from 30 million of its users' accounts, including those of CEO Mark Zuckerberg himself, were stolen by hackers.
Here it is, the blackmail letter I told you about. Unbelievable. The hackers must have gotten a hold of my private messages. Now they're threatening to release them to the public if I don't pay.
I bet this is related to the MyPage hack.
But the messages that were stolen weren't from my page, but from another account.
That's part of what makes the MyPage breach so bad. You see, the hackers stole MyPage login information, essentially a master key that could then be used by hackers to impersonate victims on other sites, allowing them to sign in using the victim's MyPage credentials.
Can't my page do something to stop that?
They invalidated those keys, but no one knows exactly what damage has already been done, which in your case looks like the hackers stole private messages from one of your other messaging services.
How do you think the hackers got into my account in the first place?
The most common way involves the use of compromised passwords. Hackers use something called a compromised credentials feed, which contains usernames and passwords that have been previously breached. One password that is really easy to find is your old LinkedIn password, which no longer works for LinkedIn since right after they were breached, they made everyone change them. But because users are notorious for recycling passwords, the hackers took that password and used it on other sites, such as MyPage, and got right in. And because MyPage has become a directory service of its own, they were able to use your MyPage credentials to access all sorts of other applications.
You're saying because I've used my page credentials to log into other sites, that made things easier for the hackers?
Exactly. Even though many sites allow or even encourage you to use your MyPage credentials to log into their site, you should never do it. Instead, use your email address and a passphrase of 12 characters or greater that's uniquely different for each and every site you frequent. Contrary to popular belief, the length of the passphrase is more important than its complexity. You should also always turn on two-factor authentication whenever possible. Had you done this, we wouldn't be having this discussion today.
If these private messages get out, the way I talked about my boss and some of our clients, my career will be ruined. I'll just have to pay the ransom.
Great if you do that. The hackers will just
Let me play once again.
Facebook recently disclosed that the personal information from 30 million of its users' accounts, including those of CEO Mark Zuckerberg himself, were stolen by hackers.
Here it is, the blackmail letter I told you about.
unbelievable.
The hackers must have gotten a hold of my private messages. Now they're threatening to release them to the public if I don't pay.
I bet this is related to the MyPage hack.
But the messages that were stolen weren't from my page, but from another account.
That's part of what makes the MyPage breach so bad. You see, the hackers stole MyPage login information, essentially a master key that could then be used by hackers to impersonate victims on other sites, allowing them to sign in using the victim's MyPage credentials.
Can't my page do something to stop that?
They invalidated those keys, but no one knows exactly what damage has already been done, which in your case looks like the hackers stole private messages from one of your other messaging services.
How do you think the hackers got into my account in the first place?
The most common way involves the use of compromised passwords. Hackers use something called a compromised credentials feed, which contains usernames and passwords that have been previously breached. One password that is really easy to find is your old LinkedIn password, which no longer works for LinkedIn since right after they were breached, they made everyone change them. But because users are notorious for recycling passwords, the hackers took that password and used it on other sites, such as MyPage, and got right in. And because MyPage has become a directory service of its own, they were able to use your MyPage credentials to access all sorts of other applications.
You're saying because I've used my page credentials to log into other sites, that made things easier for the hackers?
Exactly. Even though many sites allow or even encourage you to use your MyPage credentials to log into their site, you should never do it. Instead, use your email address and a passphrase of 12 characters or greater that's uniquely different for each and every site you frequent. Contrary to popular belief, the length of the passphrase is more important than its complexity. You should also always turn on two-factor authentication whenever possible. Had you done this, we wouldn't be having this discussion today.
If these private messages get out, the way I talked about my boss and some of our clients, my career will be ruined. I'll just have to pay them ransom. That's it.
I'm afraid if you do that, the hackers will just come back for more money, holding this over your head while demanding payouts indefinitely. And even if you do pay them, there's no guarantee they won't just release the messages anyway.
So you're saying no matter what, I'm trapped?
I'm going to call the authorities. Hopefully they can help. But otherwise, I'm afraid so.
Okay, so let's go straight to the quiz and see. I've already answered them, but we'll restart it and then we'll take it again. Reset quiz. Okay, so the first question says, true or false? User often recycle credentials between different accounts. If one account is breached, hackers have an easy way to access additional sites. True or false? Users often recycle credentials between different accounts. If one account is breached, hackers have an easy way to access additional sites. True or false?
That can be true.
Is it true or false?
True.
Okay, true. Let's move to the next question. True or false? Using long passphrase. Using long passphrases that are unique to each site or account that you have is one of the best ways to secure yourself against hackers. Using long passphrases that are unique to each site or account that you have is one of the best ways to secure yourself against hackers. True or false?
It's true.
Okay, true. So the next one, true or false? Two-factor authentication creates an extra step before you log in with no increase in security. Disabling it will be more convenient and you will be just as secure. Two-factor authentication creates an extra step before you log in with no increase in security. Disabling it will be more convenient and you will be just as secure. True or false?
It's false.
That's false. Okay. Social media sites allow users to access additional accounts with their social media credentials. There's no way for hackers to take advantage of this service. Social media sites allow users to access additional accounts with their social media credentials. So there's no way for hackers to take advantage of this service. True or false?
That is false.
That is a false. Okay, so let's see. Let's complete our quiz and see our marks. So congratulations. It's 100%. Thank you very much, guys. And let's come back to the house. Welcome to our seminar, the weekly threat intelligence seminar. Thank you, guys, for helping me to answer all those questions. Today, we have a very important topic to treat. It has to do with cryptography. I'm the person to do justice to this particular, topic is Madam Agnes, but due to something beyond her and beyond myself, Agnes is around to take us through the presentation. But because we promised, we've shared our slides, our flyers, with the topic on it. it is important that we come up with the topic. So today's topic is going to be cryptography, but it's going to be in a different form. The intro states that September 13, 2023, Coinex confirmed hack after $31 million in cryptocurrency allegedly stolen from exchange North Korean Lazarus hacking group. So this is the group that we believe to have tampered with, Coinex system, and a huge sum of money, like $31 million, was lost as a result of this attack. Cryptocurrency exchange Coinex confirmed that a hacker stole millions of dollars worth of cryptocurrency in an attack, while the company claims the amount of losses is still being determined. So blockchain data collected by several cryptocurrency security firms shows that a $31 million worth of coins was allegedly stolen from the platform. So this is a huge sum of money that was lost as a result of an attack, which has to do with data. Another one, Pizza Hut, Australian ones, about 193,000 customers of data breach. Pizza Hut Australia sent data breach notification to customers, warning them that a cyber attack allowed the hackers to access their personal information. So the notification said that the hackers gained unauthorized access to Pizza Hut Australian system, storing sensitive information of customers who made online orders. We've done things like this. Why can someone help me from the audience? Why Pizza Hut has to inform about 193 customers about this attack, this breach? Can someone help me with this? Can someone help me answer this question? Why? Why do they have to inform their customers? Their system has been hacked. Hackers have been able to take up people's information. Why do they have to inform the people about this attack? Don't you think it's feasible, it's good for them to hide it and then not to tell their customers about this breach, because they could create tension and panic in the country? Why do you think they have to inform their customers? Can someone help me with this answer?
I believe it builds trust with customer and the company, because if you keep it to yourself, your customers won't trust you, or they won't trust to give you their money or put their personal information. So yeah, that's what I believe. So
good one, thank you very much. Can someone also add to what my brother has said? Can someone add
Can I add on to that?
Okay, you can go ahead. You go ahead and do
I
it.
want to say, because the main point is that even though it does build trust, it's important to let your customers know the threat that is currently at risk, and if possible, it'll allow your customers to either change their passwords or like close their accounts. Because a store like Pizza Hut, if you're signed into their app, you likely have your credit card info on there in order for you to order food easily. So letting your customers know, it'll allow them to take out, your credit card info and stuff like that, or change it, or close that account if possible.
That's also another good answer. Do anyone has anything again to add? If not, these are one of the best answers that we could get. People have to be informed about a breach, because they have, maybe there's a possibility that they use the same passwords for their various accounts, and their information, they need to do some changes to all those things so that they could be safe wherever they are, or possibly they could call their bank and inform them, and then try to change their credentials and what have you, so that everything of them will be safe. That is a good answer. So the reason why I ask all these things is we're talking about hashing today, cryptography, encrypting data. We don't want anyone to kind of take advantage of any error that will be committed, or anything that will happen to our sensitive information. I've been saying this every time I have the opportunity to present, to do something on data, experts are of the view that data is the new oil. So if you have data, you have everything. Now people are fighting to get data, to get information. They are doing that because they think by having those information, they could use it to do so many things: business intelligence, artificial intelligence, everything that you could think of that is coming up. It's all zeros to what? Data. So data is very important. How to manage the data is very important. Data cryptography talks about, locking the data, locking every single information that you're going to keep within your system or send it across, so that if anyone is to lay his hands on those information will not make any meaning to him. But the problem here is, despite all this, we've seen instances whereby there has been some attacks here and there. Today, going through, I've come across so many things, like this particular data, for instance, table, for instance. It tells us a kind of, hacking that has gone on within this year, from May this year to September, and majority of these attacks is zero to data. There has been an attack on the University of Sydney on September 3rd, 2023. The University of Sydney data breach impact recent application unknown. That is the attacker. In this breach incident, a third-party service provider exposed personal information, blah, 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 a whole lot. And then there are also, there's also another data breach here, Free Cycle, an online forum dedicated to exchanging used items. The Free Cycle confirmed massive data breach impacting 7 million users and the rest of the things. This all happens within a country. So let's look at it. Free Cycle confirmed a massive data breach that affected more than 7 million users. The non-profit organization said it discovered the breach weeks after a threat actor puts the stolen data for sale on a hacking forum on May 30th. You see, this has even happened, and without the organization being able, even knowing about it. They only got to know about it when the hacker tries to sell all this information on the dark web. There's another one, Coffee Mate Wiggle. This is also an attack, and then a whole lot of attacks here and there, all due to data. But when we talk about cryptography, we talk about relocking the data. So what happens? How come all those data were being taken by these hackers, despite we thinking that we've locked the data? Because looking at the definition of, cryptography, it says what's is the process of coding, or is the process of hiding or coding information so that only the person a message was intended for can read it. So if the message is not intended to you, if the data is not for you, you can't use it for anything. So why is it that hackers were able to lay their hands on it and then be able to use it for their own benefits? This is the practice of coding information to ensure only the person that the message was written for can read the message. So it goes on and on and on about this. Why do we encrypt data, if we may ask? To ensure confidentiality and the privacy of individual and organization using cryptography on a daily basis. So data, one thing that we're trying to protect is the CIA triad, or the CIA triangle: the integrity, the availability, and the confidentiality of the data. So if data is tampered with, we all know the confidentiality has also been tampered with. We know the availability will also be tampered with, and then the integrity of that data. So these are some of the things that we try to look at. Okay, so to ensure confidentiality of the data, privacy, individual use cryptography on a daily basis to protect their privacy and keep their conversation and data confidential. So it also helps with authentication. Why authentication? Because whenever you want to log into any accounts, you need to put in your credentials before you be allowed into it. The integrity of the data cryptography ensures that information is not altered while in storage or during transit between a sender and the receiver. For example, digital signature can detect forgery or tampering in a software distribution. Non-repudiation. That is one thing that cryptography ensures. It ensures that anyone who has access to the data can never come back and say, no, I didn't see it, or I did not open it, or something like that. Or the sender of that particular data will not later come back and say, no, I did not send it, or whatever. We have key exchange. Key exchange is the method used to what? Share cryptographic keys between a sender and the receiver. So this, I'm just trying to look at some of the importance of this cryptography to ensure authentication, integrity, non-repudiation, and key exchange. And also the types of algorithm that we use for this cryptography. We have two main key algorithms to use. We have the private key, that is the symmetric, and then the public key, that's the asymmetric. So the secret key or the private key, also known as symmetric encryption, uses a single key to encrypt and then the same key to decrypt. So one key is used to lock the data, and then that same key will be sent to the receiver, and then the receiver could use that same key to unlock the data. So that is for the symmetric. So under the symmetric, we have the stream cipher, which has a synchronous stream. Cipher generates that key stream independently of the message stream. We have the block cipher. It always encrypts a plain text data, block it, and the rest. And then we have the public key, that's the asymmetric or the asymmetric cryptography. It uses the mathematical functions to create codes that are exceptionally difficult to crack. So the RSA, the elliptic curve cryptography, and then the digital signatures and identity-based encryption and hash functions. Yeah, these are all algorithms that falls under the public key. So some cryptographic attacks, some of the attacks that's leveraged on cryptography, we have weak keys. So earlier when I was talking about data breach, despite the data being encrypted and what have you, and then we felt I was asking questions, why? Because the data has been encrypted. Why do the hacker wants to have his lay his hands on the data? Why is he able to understand what that information means, despite it being encrypted? Because when the data is encrypted and you try to access it, you only have things that is not making sense. You have gibberish. It's not making sense. You don't understand whatever is going on. But this is a situation that the hacker was able to hack into the system, get the data, and then try to make use of that data. That means the data has been what's decrypted. So that is why he's able to use that data. So why then can a hacker decrypt, or why then is the data decrypted after it has been encrypted with either a public key or a private key or what have you? One of the factors that could lead to that is weak keys. So keys are essentially random numbers that's become more difficult to crack. So the longer the number is, the stronger it is. So key strength and lengths need to be relative to the value of the data it protects, and the length of the time and data needs to be what's protected. So keys should be created with a high quality certified random numbers generator that collects entropy, the information density of a file in a bits of characters from suitable hardware noise sources. So incorrect use of keys. When keys are used improperly, or encoded poorly, it becomes easier for a hacker to crack what should have been highly secured. So incorrect use of keys. If keys are not used well, it tells you that it is easy for a hacker to be able to crack that key because it has not been correctly, or it has not been properly what's encoded, or it has not been properly what's done. Reuse of keys. So the constant reuse of keys made the keys weaker. So every key should only be generated for a specific or single-use encryption or decryption purpose. Okay, and use beyond that may not offer the level of protection required. So every key that is used has to have an expiring date. That is how I call it, because if you reuse any key again and again, its strength decreases, and it makes it easier, and it makes the system susceptible. It makes your data very open to hackers to be able to take over your data and then have to use it in their own way. Inappropriate storage of keys. The keys that you stored, if you store it in the server that has been compromised, the possibility of the hacker getting the decrypted key is very high, because this is a situation that's the storeroom for that information has been taken. So why do you think that information is safe? The one who owns the store now could have access to every single thing that is in the storeroom. So that is what happens when the server is being compromised and you have your decrypted key stored in that on that server. It is very easy for the hacker to be able to use that key and then decrypt whatever encrypted data that is on your system. Inadequate protection of keys. Huge cyber attacks like Meltdown, Spectre, and Heartbleed have been what's capable of exposing cryptographic keys stored in a server memory. So therefore, stored keys must be encrypted as well, and then only made available unencrypted when placed within secure or tamper-protected environment, or even kept offline. Insecure movement of keys. Moving keys between systems should only occur when the key is encrypted or wrapped under an asymmetric or asymmetric or symmetric pre-shared transport key. That is what I said earlier on. Data on transit, data at rest has to be encrypted. Okay, we don't have to send data without encrypting it because of the fear that there could be a man in the middle who could intercept that data and then tamper with the three things that we said data should have. Insecure movement, that was I said, insider threats. This is what is dangerous, insider threats, because this is the person who works within an organization who have bypassed all the firewalls that one could think of, all the intrusion detection mechanism system in place. He has bypassed it. He is within the system. How do we ensure that whatever he is saying, then whatever he is doing will be for the interest or for the good of the organization? People have been hired within and are working within an organization, but these people may have a bad intent, may have something in their mind trying to bring down the organization or trying to inform on the organization or trying to leak some information out there. So there are systems that we could use, especially when we have Sophos, that we could, if an organization is having that proxy firewall system, he could use that to set a policy that could prevent anything that is being sent within the organization to the outside world. So that one could take off, data being sent outside, or that one could take off insider threat. But this particular thing is very dangerous. Every single organization should have a 360-degree eye on watch on each and every employee. And as well, zero trust system should be working within an organization so that we ensure that whoever is managing or is handling some things is being properly and accurately checked and monitored. So how to control all these things? Controlling is very important, or mitigation is very important. Things happen, but after those things have happened, what do? We try to prevent it re-happening in the future, or try to make sure that none of that sort could happen again within an organization. We all learn from our mistakes. Sometimes you could do something, and then after that, you try to kind of learn from that and then try to do the right, or even sometimes you try to put in things in order so that in case, so that there wouldn't be any unwanted attack to our server or our system. We try to protect our system. Organizations and individuals can minimize and mitigate cryptography or cryptographic related threats with a dedicated electronic key management system from a reputable provider. So the solution must use a hardware or a security model to generate and protect keys and underpin the entire system's security. It needs to include features like full key management lifecycle, which has to do with strong key generation, as I said, Wiki is a tool that could be used to, take over data and then try to make use of that data. Strict policy-based control policy, both written and technical policies are very important. The written one are policies that organizations do have, maybe in a booklet form or on a piece of paper that has been pasted on the notice board or what have you, depending on how organizations disseminate their information. They try to have a policy that takes care of, how people behave within an organization, that controls people's behavior, that monitor people's behavior. We have a technical one that states that whatever you're doing, the system is watching, the system is keeping an eye on you. For instance, example, if there is a policy that says every 3 months, every 2 months, everyone should change his or her password. I know most of us will not do that, but if the system it's set in such a way that when the time is up, it locks you off, you try as much as you can. Whenever you get the first notification, you change your password. So that is how things are. So in organization, you have to have a written policy and then the technical one too, for that matter, to be able to ensure that every single data is well protected and guided. Swift compromise detection. Whenever there is a compromise, we try quickly to work around it to try to find out what happens and then try to make sure that we put things in order so that anything of that sort will never happen again. Secure key destruction. Key destruction, how to secure it. We have stronger user authentication system in place that ensures that people who are allowed to access the system are people who are truly members of the organizations and what have you. Secure workflow management, a secure audit and user log. Okay, auditing of various logs, who accesses what, who was where, how many people were here around this time, what happened, who was the person to log in around this time, why is this person logging into our server around odd hours, why is he trying to conduct a scan within this particular time? You see, these are some of the things that we should be looking at as security analysts, to be able to identify, be able to know whatever is happening, because we can't just be sleeping and then leave our doors open. We have to make sure that we control everything that is happening. Another potential solution is cryptographic quantum, whereby it is impossible to copy data encoded in a quantum state. So I think with this, we could bring the curtains down and then come back to the house and interact with our people in the house. So this is what we have for you on cryptography. And if anyone has any question, he or she can bring it up so that we'll see how best we can answer your questions. Thank you very much for your time. Yeah, so I'm here. If you have anything. Let me just stop sharing. So that's okay. Okay. Even though this particular topic requires a demonstration of how to encrypt data, but because I want to believe Agnes has done something in that regard, so I don't want to take it away from her. She has promised me she wanted to do something on this, because she's not around, that's why I've taken it upon myself to kind of take you people through Baby God willing, when she's around, she will take us through the demonstration. Yeah, with the hashing and what have you. It's something simple. It's not all that difficult, but we have to know. Yeah, but the genesis of it was, I think, Caesar, who was the first person to do something on cryptography. He's a military officer who tried to code communication between himself and his other colleagues on the battlefield. So he used I think 5 something, yeah, whereby you just calculate alphabets from the 5 and then the rest of the things. So everyone has his own way of coding his information. We all have our own way of, communicating with our siblings, our friends. If people around that we don't want them to listen to whatever we are saying, we have our own way of coding that information so that even if they hear whatever we are saying, it's not making any sense to them. Like for instance, Pradeep is here. If Pradeep is to talk to his brother in Hindu in India, Hindu, I believe, and all of us here would just be there, wouldn't understand whatever he's saying. That thing wouldn't make sense to us. The same applies to when maybe Janet is talking to Michael in the Ghana language, and some of us coming from Ashanti, even though we're all from Ghana, we don't understand whatever she's saying. So that means that conversation has been coded because it's not making any sense to me. But if you are all to speak English, then that is a decoded way of having conversation or communicating that we all understand whatever each and every one of us is saying, and then it will make sense to all of us. So that is how it is. So you just close it, and then you give the key or to the other party who else already understands how the coding system goes, and then he will be able to, decrypt that information and then have it well understood. So that is basically on cryptography. It's just saying things, trying to, dot people, trying to say things that wouldn't make any sense to anybody except the intended, party. So that is all it's about. So I'm still here. We still have some few minutes. If not, if you don't have any question, I will just hand you over to Janet and then we'll call it a day. So Janet, if you are here, you can just take over.
Yeah, Shafiu. I'm right here. All right, thank you so much for today's session. Thank you for stepping in for Agnes. Yeah, I think it was a great one. And a special thank you to all our attendees, most especially our first timers and all the guests. We are super happy to have you here. We hope to see you again and again. So this happens every Wednesday, same time. We hope to see you here with all your friends. Don't come alone, come with someone, invite somebody. Yeah, so who are we? We are Soft Afrique, a leading IT and cybersecurity firm. We currently run a 4-month course. And so if you are looking at venturing into cybersecurity, Soft Afrique is the best option. We are the best plug. So come join us. Our enrollment happens every month. And so do not wait. Just check us out on our various social media handles. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, and we are on Instagram. Yes, you can join us there. Also, we have an orientation for our class every Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. You can join us in this orientation and find out more about what we do. Yes, so thank you everybody for today. Hope to see you same time next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Janet. Before we go, Michael, I hope you are ready for next week. Yeah, getting ready for next week, sorry. And next week, we're going to have one of our students taking us through. Thank you very much, guys. Bye-bye. Job.
Soll ich ihn jetzt